Hello YouTube fam, welcome to Athena Virtuo's channel. This is Athena and I'm your astrologer for today's video. So I've been away for a while, as I mentioned in my previous video, that I'm in the midst of the move and it's just so overwhelming. I barely have time to record the video, but anyways, before the full moon in Scorpio, which is going to happen on May the 12th, I've decided to have this video available for my subscribers and my viewers. I'm recording today's video on May the 8th at 9:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my time in Toronto. Yes, I am still in Toronto, but I am moving, and I am moving within Canada, but it's a long distance move. So yeah, I'm moving provinces. So anyways, I got this chance today, so yeah, in today's video I will be talking about Saturn entering into Aries, even though I've already uploaded a long video back in December last year about Saturn in Aries. Please go back and watch it. If I don't forget, at the end of the video I'm gonna link it so you can see it. It was a very long video. I had predictions on a global level and on a personal level as well, as I went through each of the zodiac signs. But in today's video I'm going to talk about Saturn in Aries briefly. I'm not going to touch base on each of the zodiac signs. I will be talking also about Jupiter and Saturn square, because they were going to be squaring one another briefly also in the month of June. What else? And I'll be talking about the full moon in Scorpio, which is going to be a very intense full moon. It's a Scorpio at the end of the day, and it's ruled by Pluto and Mars. And as you see in the chart here, Lilith is still sitting in Scorpio, and Lilith is going to be in Scorpio for the next 8 months, because Lilith stay in each sign about 8 months or 9 months if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to talk about. Then I'm going to touch base on each of the zodiac signs and how is this full moon going to affect each of the zodiac signs. Okay, so first things first. This chart is for May the 24th, when, as you see here, when Saturn actually enters into Aries at 0 degree. That's May 24th. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me just get this clear for you. Okay, so yeah. And yeah, so Saturn will enter into Aries and will conjunct Neptune. Okay, Neptune is at 1 degree, as you see, and Saturn will form a square with Jupiter. Now let me tell you this, this square gonna last about a couple of weeks, about 20 days or so, and that's it. Okay, it's not gonna be for the entire year. Yes, Aries and Cancer square one another, but doesn't mean that Jupiter and Saturn will square one another for the entire year when Jupiter is going to be in Cancer. Okay, we know Jupiter is entering Cancer on June the 9th, and the worst time when we feel the challenge and the effect of the square between Saturn and Jupiter is going to be when the energy is building up. Means before they actually come into exact square. The exact square between Jupiter and Saturn will be on June the 15th, and I'm going to show you in one of the charts later on. That's when both of them, they will reach 1 degree and I believe 26 minutes or so. it'll be exact square. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is the previous prior. That's when the energy is building up to the square. Okay? After that, after June the 15th, Jupiter will continue his journey into Cancer, and the energy will dissipate. The energy will be in separating mode. It's not going to be applying, which means it's going to dissipate. It's going to be lessened. It's not going to be as strong as prior to June the 15th. Okay? So, in order for us to understand how Saturn going to affect us, we need to understand what's Saturn. Okay? We all know that Saturn is the Lord of Karma. Saturn is the master, or the task master, is the teacher. Saturn is Cronus, is the father. Oops, sorry guys. Saturn is is Cronus in Greek mythology. Okay, and we all know, we spoke about it, you probably heard that from other astrologers, that Cronus, he was obviously, his father is Uranus, and he threatened his father. He actually overthrown his father's Uranus cursed Cronus, and he told him, whatever you've done to me, it's going to be done to you. So Cronus, because he was scared of his father's curse, curse basically, he started eating or swallowing all his children. Okay, so anyways, I'm not going to get into the details of Cronus, but we know Saturn is Cronus, is the father. Saturn represents old age, represent aging people. Okay, represents wisdom, represents being in solitude. Okay, being solo in your life. Saturn represent stability, represent scarcity, represent limitations, restrictions, boundaries, blockages. Saturn is fear. When you feel that you are fearful of the unknown, fearful of something, that's the energy of Saturn. Okay? The energy of the restriction, the energy of, oh, what's going to happen if this happens? What am I going to be doing? Saturn also represents, as I said, borders, boundaries, represent blockages, obstacles in life, represent scarcity. And when I say scarcity, as it means, okay, it means lack. Okay, it means shortage of something, and it also means that in order to accumulate value, you have to go through shortage. Okay, so, and you have to understand, what does it mean that you're lacking something, and in order to accumulate value, in order to accumulate something, you have to work hard for it. It's not like you're born with a golden spoon in your mouth. No, you have to work hard. You have to go through the shortage, through the lack, through the poverty, through hard work. That's how you accumulate any value. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and that's exactly what Capricorn is. Okay, Saturn also the co-ruler or the traditional ruler of Aquarius, the 11th house. Okay, so Saturn rules Capricorn and rules also, which is the 10th house, and rules also the 11th house. Saturn is about structure, have a business plan, have plan in present in order to achieve something in the future, and you have to follow through. That's what Saturn is, commitment, follow through. Okay, persevere. Work hard. I don't know, I keep repeating myself, but yeah, that's what Saturn is. Follow a system, follow rules, set of rules, a set of laws. Okay, Saturn is control, is domination. You're probably dealing with a Saturnian person in your life. Okay, it means could be Capricorn, or they could have strong Saturn in their chart, and they very dominant, very like tyrant kind of personality, okay, dominant person, okay. But once again, Saturn is all about being persistence, commit, okay, agreements. Saturn also represent the law, represent the legal system, or the judge, okay, because remember, Saturn exalted in Libra, okay, and Libra is about justice. So Saturn does represent justice, the justice system, and that's why Saturn is the lord of karma. You are going to reap what you've sown, remember that. Now, the worst placement that Saturn can be is the 12th house, or the 1st house, or the 8th house, okay. These are, I shouldn't have said the worst, they are the worst placement, okay, but I would say the most difficult houses that Saturn can be present in is the 12th house, the 1st house, or the 8th house, because Saturn will hit deep in these houses. The 8th and the 12th are the houses of the subconscious, the houses of depth, okay, hidden realm, anything hidden, okay. Once again, the psyche, the subconscious, yeah, I don't know how else I can say it, okay. And the 1st house is the house of your identity, who you are, okay, on the core level, on the deep level, okay. So these are the most difficult houses. So if you have Saturn in any of these houses natally in your birth chart, you understand exactly what I'm talking about, okay. No kidding whatsoever, okay. Now, if Saturn is in your 8th or the 12th house natally, you would probably be a very wise person, and probably by the age of 40, okay, or even 30, you've been through hell. One thing I haven't mentioned, Saturn also represents death, as it represents aging, okay, or old age. It also represents death. In many aspects, Saturn can literally mean death, okay, a literal death of a physical life, okay, a death of a person in your life, okay. So, as I said, if you have Saturn natally in the 12th or the 8th house, you would understand what I'm talking about. You could have been through the most difficult experiences in your life, and by the time you're in your 40s, you are a very wise person. And let me tell you, if you were born with Saturn placement in your 12th or in your 8th house or your 1st house, but I will leave the 1st house because it's slightly different, but the 12th house or the 8th house, even if you are, you can't believe it, guys, even if you are a toddler, like let's say 6-7 years old, you would only be, you would like to be in a company of older people, okay. You would sound like an adult even at a very young age. You're a toddler, right? But you talk like a wise person, an old person, okay, a person with, like, people, they would tell you, oh, you're an old soul. That's what Saturn in the 12th or the 8th house means. Now, in Saturn, if you were born with Saturn in your 1st house, you will look like Saturn, meaning even if you are young in your age, you will look very old, okay, older than your actual age, okay. So just so that you know what Saturn in these houses mean. Now, if Saturn transiting one of these houses, like, and the reason I'm talking about this, and I really don't want to take too much time talking about Saturn, but I just want to clarify, because Saturn is entering into Aries, okay. So Saturn was in in Pisces for the past almost 3 years, 2 years and a half in Pisces. So Aries experienced Saturn in their 12th house, okay. Saturn normally rules the bones, the muscles, your teeth, your hair, all that kind of stuff. So you probably felt the pain, okay, being lazy, being tired, but also affect you in a sense that you felt you're alone, you're isolated. It affects your mental health, okay. Now Saturn will be entering into your first house, Aries, okay? So the signs that mostly gonna feel the effect of Saturn will be Aries and Taurus. Pisces will still feel it. Why? Because Saturn will be in Aries for the next, I believe, until September. And forgive me, guys, I did not double check. I've done a video before on Saturn. Go watch it. Okay, but I believe Saturn will be in Aries until September and then going to retrograde back into Pisces. Okay, so for the rest of the year, at the end of the year, Saturn will come back into Pisces. So because Saturn is not going to pass 3 degrees in Aries, okay, will be only transiting up to 2 degrees and change almost 3 degrees, and then will retrograde back and enter back into Pisces. Okay, so for this year and the beginning of next year, it's still going to affect Pisces, okay, especially late degrees Pisces. But Aries 100%, early degrees Aries 100%, and it's going to be very difficult. Okay, you're going to feel the glimpse, and you know what, the effect or the impact of Saturn is not an easy one. Okay, it's not. It's very deep. It's going to teach you very hard lessons, okay? Because Saturn wanted to teach you to be responsible, to commit, okay? To learn what does it mean, like if you lived your life frivolous and spending without, spending like crazy, okay, spending money, spending gifts, spending all that kind of stuff, like not being responsible, like what I'm trying to say, being irresponsible, then now Saturn will teach you how to be responsible, okay? And it's going to teach you that lesson in a very difficult way, okay? Saturn in the 12th house for Aries and Taurus, okay, and Pisces gave you so many warnings, okay, many cautions. If you didn't learn the lesson, you gotta understand that it's time to pay karma. So Saturn, when it enters your first or your 12th house, it's your time to pay karma, to pay a big chunk of your karma, okay? And that's what the purpose of this hardship is, to pay off, because we all came into this physical realm to pay our past life karma, okay? So now Saturn is teaching you to pay off your karma, okay? Is making you pay off your karma, not teaching you, but also teaching you lessons in order for you to advance and grow as a soul being, okay? So, and you are going to reap what you've sown. And let me tell you guys, Saturn in the 12th and the first house, the karma hits in a very deep level, okay? It's going to be instant. Like if you've done something, let me tell you guys, it's not like if Saturn in your 3rd or 5th or 6th, no. When it comes into your 12th or your first house, the karma hits instantly. Like I mean it, literally, okay? So please, watch what you say, watch how you behave, watch what you tell others, okay? How you react to any situation in your life, how you treat people, okay? Even how you take care of yourself, okay? Because Saturn, once again, will hit very deep, and it does cause mental health issues, okay? It does. Let me tell you, in the next, because Saturn will leave Aries in 2028, I can't remember the exact month, but by the time Saturn leaves Aries house, especially for Aries, because then it's going to hit Taurus. So for the 3 years that Saturn is in Aries, Taurus need to pay attention, okay? Pay attention, Taurus. I am dead serious, okay? Ask Aries when Saturn was in Pisces, or ask Pisces. So be prepared. You're going to reap. You're not going to run away from your karma. You're not, okay? But let me go back to Aries. By the time Saturn leaves Aries in 2028, Aries will feel like a newborn person. Okay? Completely different person. It's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that for the past XYZ years, I was this person, and now it's like you're a newborn. You can't even recognize yourself. You're totally different personality. Okay? You're going through hell during Saturn in your house. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it like other astrologers. They try. Yes, Saturn will make you reap the rewards if you commit, if you show responsibility and you mean it, if you are being unique, you are being authentic. Okay, if you embrace also your individuality, but not in the way that you're being tyrant and controlling and being like manipulative and gaslighting others. No, you have to be authentic, you have to be honest, you have to tell the truth. Okay, don't be vindictive or malicious towards others, because once again Saturn hits really hard. Okay, an instant hit, like I mean it, instant hit. If you do something, maybe I would say even less than an hour later, you're going to be hit back by Saturn. It's like a slap in the face. No, not slap, it's like a punch in the face, literally. Okay, it's up to you. I'm warning you. Some people, they understand Saturn impact, some people they don't, unless they hit once, twice, and 3 times. So they understand and they learn the lesson. You're going to be alone. You're going to feel as though you're isolated. Okay, because you need to learn those lessons in isolation. It's like the hermit. Okay, it's like exactly like the hermit who seeks the enlightenment. Okay, that's what Saturn in your first house. Your 12th, I'm gonna say it again, the most difficult. So when I say the 8th house, so I'm talking about Virgo here. Okay, so Virgo, Saturn will be entering into your 8th house. Aries, Saturn will be in your first house. Okay, Taurus, Saturn will be in your 12th house. This is the transit. Okay, but you need to watch in your birth chart, find out in your birth chart where is Saturn placement. Okay, enough of Saturn. It's been 20 minutes and I'm talking about Saturn. Okay, but yeah. And you know what, guys, I don't need to speak about. So okay, just in summary, how it is Saturn affect you in the 8th house. In the 8th house, it's death and rebirth, loss. It's a transition, transformation. Okay, but there's something new is gonna come, and it's going to be painful. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's going to be painful. And once again, karma hits instantly. Okay, so watch what you say, watch what you do. Now also, it hits in the deep subconscious. Okay, because that's what the nature of the 8th house, and that's what the nature of the 12th house. Now for the first house, you are going to look way much older than your actual age. So this is towards Aries. I'm serious, guys. Okay, the first house, you're gonna look, oh my goodness, totally different person. For some of you, it's going to be your Saturn return. So how you know if it's your Saturn return? You need to see where was Saturn in your birth chart. So if you were born with Saturn in Aries or Saturn in Virgo, or any, like now, it's going to be your Saturn return, which means, and yeah, the other thing I want to tell you, when you have Saturn return, lots of people, they get married and they have children. Okay, so that's your Saturn return. So if you were born with Saturn, for instance, in Aries, then this could be your Saturn return. And usually Saturn return, it happens every 27 years plus, like 27, 28 years. Okay, so, and lots of people, once again, they get married because Saturn is marriage. Okay, is a contractual agreement as well. So Saturn is Saturn return, lots of people get married. Jupiter is represent marriage as well. Okay, but we're talking about Saturn. I'm going to touch base on Jupiter when I speak about Jupiter and Saturn square. But yeah, so Saturn does mean marriage. It does mean death. It does mean a rebirth of a child, because that's how Saturn will teach you the lesson, right? So let's say you're young, and then all of a sudden you find that you're pregnant. He or she, whoever you are, female or male, masculine or feminine energy, doesn't matter. If you are masculine energy, you're pregnant too when your spouse is pregnant, so you're giving birth as well. You're not physically giving birth, but you're becoming a parent. Okay, so if you impregnate a person, a woman, then you're obviously you got the idea. That's how we call it here in Canada. So anyways, you learn a lesson by becoming a parent. So you understand, okay, the position of your parents, because Saturn represents the parent as well. It doesn't matter. Saturn usually a masculine energy, and Saturn is malefic. Malefic means the lessons that we learned from Saturn, they're hard. Okay, they're not blessings. They're mostly hard. They bring either rewards or consequence, depending on your action your actions and your obviously how you react to any situation. But Saturn also represent oh my goodness, guys, I lost my train of thought. So what I was trying to say is, yeah, Saturn is the parent, whether a father or a mother, whoever the responsible parent in your life. So for instance, if you are a single mom, then you are Saturn for your children. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, you're the one who stipulate rules and laws in your home, right? And so as obviously if the father is present, okay, he's the Saturn. So but when you become a parent, like let's say your young age, you're in your 20s or 30s or whatever, you become a parent, right? So then you learn how to be responsible, and that's where the transformation comes. Okay, so you probably, now once again I said that, and I've been always telling you, Saturn represents fear. Saturn instills fear in us. Fear doesn't exist, okay? Is illusion. But who instills fear within us or in our subconscious? It's Saturn, because of the blockages, because of the obstacles, because of the restrictions, because of the limitations, because of the boundaries, and so on and so forth. So and because of the unknown as well, okay? So we feel we're fearful. So you feel that you don't know what to do, okay? You feel that you lack something. But that's how Saturn gonna teach you to be responsible, how you overcome the fear, okay? What you going to do to overcome the fear? Are you gonna submit to the fear, or are you gonna work hard and commit and work through and follow through the rules and the regulation and the stipulation and everything in order for you to achieve what you need to achieve in this lifetime? Okay, so that's what Saturn will be teaching you. Okay, what does that mean? Fear means you're gonna go through hardship, difficulties, lack, shortage of any kind, shortage of money, shortage of support, being alone, feeling isolated. You're being literally isolated. Nobody supports you. You need to figure out what to do. That's what Saturn teaches you. You have to figure it out. You have to find out. You have to be independent. You have to work on yourself. You have to do everything on your own. Nobody going to support you. You're going to find yourself alone, just like as though you're lost in a desert. And what are you going to do now? That's what it is. Okay? So enough of Saturn. Okay? The whole idea, the main idea here is to overcome those struggles, inner struggles, the adversity, the anxiety, the fear. Okay? That's what the Saturnian energy is. You have to overcome all these, illusions, basically. Okay? Good luck to everybody with Saturn in Aries. Okay? I'm going to make another video and speak about Saturn in Aries. Okay, so this segment of the video, I will be talking about Jupiter. This is the June the 9th transit chart. And as you see in the chart here, Saturn is already entered into Aries and is at 1 degree and 1 minute. And Jupiter still at in Gemini at an erratic degree of 29 degree 59. Jupiter is entering into Cancer just a few hours later. This is an erratic degree. Okay. And it's going to be in this erratic degree for a couple of days. So this is considered, it's not exact, but it is almost exact, almost less than like a minute. Okay, it's going to be exact, because on June the 15th, as you see in the chart here, sorry, this is June 24th, June 15th, Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn is obviously slower than Jupiter. Jupiter is a little faster, but on June 15th, the energy of the square, or the square, is going to be exact 1 degree and 18 minutes. But the energy is building prior to that. Okay, the energy of the square, it starts from the end of May. Okay, at the end of May, Jupiter is headed towards Cancer, and Saturn is heading towards Aries. Okay, so they are angular houses. Obviously, the first house, whatever your sign is, whatever any element your sign is, you always look at the angular houses. The angular houses is the first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th house. Okay, and Aries, first house, Cancer, fourth house, Libra, seventh house, and Capricorn is the 10th house. So these are angular houses. If you are Gemini, your first house, Virgo, your fourth house, Sagittarius, your seventh house, and Pisces is your 10th house, and so on and so forth. I'm just giving you example of what the angular houses. These angular houses form square with one another. It doesn't mean that what does it mean a square? Okay, even if there's no planet exist in these angular houses, there's always a clash between these signs. There's always like a power struggle, but it's not as intense as when there is a planet in one of these houses forming the aspect of the square. And as I mentioned before, the square is a Martian aspect, or Mars aspect. Okay, it's the aspect of a challenge, it's the aspect of fighting, it's the aspect of struggle, power struggle, it's the aspect of arguments, heated arguments. Okay, and fighting, I mean literally fighting, because Mars represents war, represents fight. Okay, you name it, that's what the square is, and Mars is the ruler of this aspect, the square. Okay, so let's try to break it down to pieces. Now, Saturn, when Saturn enters into Aries, even though Saturn will be in detriment, okay, what does it mean in detriment? Because Saturn is exalted in Libra, okay, and Aries is the opposite of Libra, right? They're opposite one another. So the placement of Saturn here is in detriment, okay? It means like in its fall. But Saturn is under the rulership of Mars. Both are malefic planets, and Mars is actually in a very strong house, the house of Leo, which is a fire sign, trines Aries. So which means Saturn is kind of so powerful here in Aries. Not only that, Saturn is exalted, sorry, not Saturn, Mars is exalted in the house of Capricorn, okay, which is the 10th house for Aries, and also it's ruled by Saturn. That's why I told you before, Saturn in Aries is strong, is not weak. Okay, because if you see the entanglement, is under the rulership of Mars. Mars is exalted in the house that's actually ruled by Saturn, which is Capricorn. So I'm going to say it again. Saturn is very strong in Aries, is not weak. It's not like, for example, when Jupiter was in Gemini. Jupiter in Gemini is not as expressive, okay, as when it enters into Cancer. Why? Because Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, okay? So Jupiter in Gemini is in detriment. It's actually in its fall, okay? It's very weak. But when Jupiter enters into Cancer, it's in its exaltation house. Very powerful, very strong. Like Jupiter, as I mentioned before in many episodes, rules the trine, okay? The 120-degree trine, this aspect, the one I'm pointing to. The trine is a Jupiterian aspect. What does it mean? It means everything happens with minimal efforts, okay? It's a harmonious, easy aspect. Things come to you easily without even asking for it. It's just gonna fall in your lap, okay? Jupiter, or the Jupiterian or the trine, is the double of the sextile. The sextile is ruled by Venus, is a Venusian aspect, okay? Sextile is opportunities come to you, but if you don't work for it, if you don't take advantage of it, it's going to pass you by. Versus the trine, it's not going to pass you by. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you're sitting at your home, a credit card company gives you an offer. They tell you you're approved for a credit limit of 30,000. This is a Jupiterian energy. This is a trine. So you get a credit limit even without increase of 30,000 without even asking for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You go to the bank, you ask for 10,000 loan, they tell you, oh, you qualify for 100,000. I'm just giving you an example. That's a Jupiterian aspect. Okay? You go whenever, in any, why I'm giving you a financial aspect? Because Jupiter is about prosperity and abundance and expansion. But it could be anything. Like even, for example, let's say you want to buy a laptop that's worth $2,000. One day you look it up on any of the electronic department stores, let's say Costco or Best Buy or whatever, and they tell you, oh, this laptop that's $2,000, $3,000 is now on sale for $800, and you're like, what the hell? And they tell you, okay, just buy it and we'll give you this warranty. So things fall into your lap without even asking for it. And I'm just giving you an example. That's what the Jupiterian aspect is. Okay? And you know what? If you know what Jupiter in Cancer means, go back to 2012, 2013, 2014. And remember what happened around that time. Okay? I mean, I don't know what your age are you, but I personally, I've had best of my times around when Jupiter entered into Cancer, and I'm Cancer Sun and Rising. Okay? Yeah. I can share stories and stories around that time. Jupiter is expansion, is benefic, is the total polar opposite of Saturn. It's a complete polar opposite, complete opposite. Okay, Saturn is malefic, Jupiter is benefit. Okay, comes from, benefits come to you from nowhere, from everywhere, nowhere and everywhere, without asking for it. Expansion. So it could represent buying a house, moving to a bigger house, building an extension, you're starting a business and it's going to prosper and expand, you get a very good job, you get married, a newborn baby, a miracle happens in your life. Let's put it this way. That's what Jupiter is a representation of a miracle. Okay, a miracle that's going to be born. So Jupiter is the opposite of Saturn. Saturn is death. Jupiter is born, is birth, a reborn or a birth. Or because remember, Cronus and Zeus, Yeah, Cronus and Zeus. Yeah, I'm right. Cronus is the father who swallowed all his children but Zeus. And when he was planning to swallow or to eat his child Zeus, which is Jupiter, his mom saved him, right? They made a plan to put, like, to, I don't know, make Saturn or Cronus swallow a stone or a rock or whatever, as though he swallowed Zeus, but in reality Zeus was dead, so he was safe. So it's kind of miracle. And then Jupiter or Zeus overthrow Saturn's and become the god of the Olympians. So the idea is Jupiter is a birth. Okay, so for instance, for women, Jupiter represents the husband. Saturn represents the husband too, but Saturn in woman's life, not only the husband, the father, the brother, the husband, could be also the son, but it's the controlling, the devilish kind of relationship, the toxic relationship. That's what Saturn is. Saturn represents the toxic relationship. Okay, the dominant, the controlling. Doesn't mean that your parent, for some people, yes, your parent is very controlling, is very toxic. Sometimes you have your children are very toxic. Your adult children are very toxic and very controlling and very dominant and abusive as well. So it could be a spouse, it could be a father. So that's what Saturn represents, malefic energy, okay? Toxic energy, domination, control, okay? Gaslighting, manipulation. But Jupiter represents the husband, the loving, the caring, okay? It could be even, Jupiter has the downsides as well. It could be a cheating husband for some. But generally speaking, what I'm trying to say here is many people from Cancer and Capricorn, they're going to get married around this time when Jupiter enters into Cancer, okay? So be prepared for that, and you're going to have there's going to be expansion in the family, okay? There could be a newborn child, a kind of miracle. Even people who probably gave up on having children, all of a sudden they know, oh, they're having children, okay? So yeah, be prepared, because that's what the miracle, Jupiter represents miracles in our lives, okay? So Jupiter represents fertility, okay? So you gotta understand, it's benefic. Okay, it's expansion, it's prosperity, it's abundance, okay? Now, Jupiter represents belief and faith as well. So lots of people, their belief system going to be strengthened around this time, okay? Especially, now, Jupiter entry into Cancer is going to benefit all cardinal signs, right? But there is a square, okay? There is so for example, for Aries, they're gonna expand in their house, in their home, in their family. They could be getting married or having kids. Cancer, same thing, expansion, prosperity, abundance, okay? Obviously Cancer is number one, and right away after Cancer, I would say Libra and water signs, okay? For Libra, that's your 10th house. So your status going to be elevated. You're going to have a status, status in the community. Your public image is going to be elevated. It's going to be polished. You're going to be glowing. Okay, but water signs, Scorpio and Pisces, will benefit from Saturn presence in Cancer 100%, because Jupiter will be trining with these signs. Okay. Now Capricorn, you're going to be benefiting as well in your 7th house. And Aries in your 4th house. However, there is going to be a square, as you see in the chart here, between Saturn and Jupiter in Cancer. Okay, Saturn in Aries and Jupiter in Cancer. Now, what does that Saturn and Jupiter square mean? Now, once again, it's going to last for about 20 days. And once it passes June 15th, I would say June 18th, the energy is going to be less, as you see in the chart here. Okay, and sorry guys, let me just remove all these scribbles here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So the square is still there, but the energy is going to dissipate. It's going to be less, okay? and that's here you see in the transit chart, it's on June 24th. Okay, so June 15, the energy or the square going to be exact at 1 degree and 18 minutes, as I showed you in the previous chart. Just give me 1 second quickly. Let me go back to the previous chart so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let me just remove all these lines. And yeah, the square will be felt by the cardinal signs the most, 100%. But also, as I said before, Virgo and Pisces. Why? Because this square will be between, your 12th house and your 3rd house, right? And for Virgo, it's going to be your 8th house and obviously your 11th house. Cancer is your 11th house, okay? And Aries is your 8th house. Oops, sorry guys. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you here is this is June the 9th, and as you see in the chart here, Saturn is at 1 degree and Jupiter is at an erratic degree, is moving signs, is like on the cusp, right, between Gemini and Cancer. June the 18th, June the 15th, this is when Saturn and Jupiter will form an exact square. You see here Saturn at 1 degree and 18 minutes and Jupiter at 1 degree and 18 minutes in Cancer. So this is the exact. After that, Jupiter will be headed will be getting too deep into Cancer. So the energy will be less and less. Okay, it's going to start to separate. After they reach the exact square, by June the 15th, the energy is going to be lessened. Okay, Jupiter will start to, as I said, separate. Okay, by June 24th, as you see in the chart here, Jupiter is at 3 degree and Aries still at 1 degree and 38 minutes. See here? But Jupiter is at 3 degree and 22 minutes in Cancer. Here the energy is called separating, or it's dissipating, or it's getting less. The square is not going to be as effective as before June the 15th. So I would say from May 25th, okay, or end of May, the energy is building up till June the 15th. Okay, yeah, so about 20-25 days we're gonna experience the expression of the square. Now once again, Saturn will be superior here over Jupiter. And why is that? Because for multiple reasons. Because as you see here, Saturn, as I mentioned, is under the influence of Mars. Mars is very strong in a fire sign, okay? So it's like supporting Saturn with the fiery energy, and Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, okay? Also, Saturn is in the 1st house and looking down into Jupiter. So when the energy is like this, as I'm like looking down to another planet, okay, this means whatever the planet that looks down to the other planet on the right side, it's more superior means. Okay, what does that mean? It means it's causing challenge. It doesn't mean that Jupiter is weaker. No. It just means the energy of the challenge, of the struggle, of the obstacles, of causing problems, of making things difficult. It's going to be very challenging for Jupiter. Okay? It's going to be like disruptive for Jupiter to spread the love and happiness and prosperity and abundance and easiness and opportunities and so on and so forth, and the blessings of Jupiter. Okay, so it's like somebody in your life, let's put it this way. Okay, it's not that these planets are fighting with one another, it's the energy. So it's like you are going towards your blessings, but there is a threat from this person here, the Saturnian person. Okay, this could be anybody. It could be anybody. Okay, I'm not kidding you guys. It could be Aries. It could be Taurus. It could be Pisces. Anybody who is like this energy is coming from, but because it is in Aries, then yeah, you're gonna be dealing with a person like this in your life, who's causing too much issues in your life. And you are, but what happens? The miracle or the blessings, it's gonna come to you nonetheless. Despite this energy that very strong, very manipulative, very toxic you're dealing with, you are going to get your blessings. You are going to see miracles happen. And this is the blessings of Jupiter. So the Saturnian energy is going to be a threat. Okay? A threat to you. Causing obstacles and even probably sadness and depression and okay? But during this time, there's something new, is a new beginning. Okay? A new start in your life. You have to understand also, once Jupiter enters into Cancer, will be under the protection of the Sun. As you see here, even though Jupiter is going to be combust, what we call in astrology a combust energy, because when Jupiter is about 8 to 9 degrees away from the Sun, Jupiter is burning, okay, because it's going to be overpowered by the heat and the light of the Sun. So the Sun is going to be overshadowing Jupiter. It's like Jupiter behind the Sun is combust, behind the Sun is invisible, is dying. It's not that a planet is going to explode or it's going to die, no, but that's the energy. What does that mean? It means that Jupiter is going to be limited in the blessings, okay, in the fortune, in the opportunities, because the Sun is overshadowing, because Jupiter overshadow or overpowering Jupiter, the Sun. But the Sun in itself is a blessing. The Sun is happiness. The Sun is a born of a child, or a birth of a child. It's a child that's born. That's basically what the Sun is. The Sun is the most. Sun obviously represents the masculine energy. Okay, it's the light. It's the heat. It's heat, but when the Sun enters into Cancer. Okay, or before actually on the 20th or 21st of Gemini, that's when, we're entering into the summer, and that's when we actually entering into, on the 20th of June or something, around that time, yeah. That's when we're entering into the summer, right? And Cancer is the cardinal sign that rules the summer, okay? The season of the summer, the beginning of the summer season, right? So, all I'm trying to say here, even though Jupiter will be combust, but it'll be under the protection of the Sun. Okay? Think about it in the sense that as though Jupiter is in its chariot, okay, and is into his journey to be reborn. Okay? Because after the combustion, Jupiter, after death, becomes a rebirth, right? Something new is going to be born. So Jupiter will born stronger and stronger after the combustion period ends. And that's when Jupiter and the Sun become exactly in exact conjunction, exact degree. That's when Jupiter is reborn. Okay? So don't dwell too much into the combustion, because once again Jupiter will be under the protection of as I said, of the Sun. Okay? So as I said, this square between Saturn and Jupiter is a representation, especially, and once again, we're gonna feel it towards all those days, 20 days before the 15th of June. But after that, the energy is going to dissipate. Okay? So we will feel that somebody is causing struggle into our life, causing problems, trying to create an obstacle in our life, in our expansion, in our progress, okay, in whatever we're trying to do. Okay? So if you're trying, for instance, to start a new business or to move or something like that, somebody is going to be very demanding, is going to be causing issues, is going to make you feel, or even if let's say you are trying to start something new, build a house, or let's say you are Aries and you're trying to expand in your house, or you're expecting a child or whatever, Saturn presence in your house will make you feel fearful, will make you feel you're lacking something, or there's obstacle in your life. Okay, maybe you're lacking the money, the financial resources. You feel like, oh, I am poor, I am lonely, I don't have this and that, or okay, or maybe I don't have the status I want to achieve in my life. Okay, so there's some sort of loss. It could be even a physical loss. Okay, it could be not necessarily for Aries, but any like even for Cancer or Libra or Capricorn, there could be loss in one of the, remember for Capricorn, for instance, this is your 4th house. Okay, Aries is your 4th house. So there could be loss in this house. Okay, it could be loss of the house itself, or loss of family member in your house, especially if it is like a father. It could be even a mother. Okay, yeah, but loss doesn't have to, now once again, it's Saturn. Saturn does represent death, physical death, but Saturn also represents loss. It doesn't have to be that the person died. It could be the person leave your life, move into different place, or different, or different country or whatever. Okay, probably they're getting married, or they're moving on in their life. Somebody's moving out from the house. Okay, or somebody's traveling or something, so that caused some sort of fear or some sort of loss or some sort of lack, like for instance for Virgo, because Saturn is going to be in your 8th house, so you're gonna probably experience loss of a person, okay, or loss of a child, or even loss of source of income, shared resources, because remember, the 8th house is the house of shared resources. So for example, if your parent dies, okay, because especially for Virgo, you're gonna represent death. Now once again, it doesn't have to be physical death, but that's what the 8th house, like, we're not gonna be sugarcoating our readings here. The 8th house represent physical death and represent loss. Okay, so the impact or the consequence of that loss is you're gonna lose that source of income, the shared resource. Okay, or a loss of a partner, you're gonna lose that income as well because you lost that partner. So I'm just giving you multiple examples, and that's why I told you Saturn in the 1st, the 12th, and the 8th house is the most difficult houses that you're gonna experience the most difficult experiences. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to laugh or anything, but that's what it is. Okay? Now also, Saturn presence in this house is trying to teach you to be responsible, is trying to teach you, and I'm gonna repeat myself here, okay? It's going to teach you how to have a plan and structure. It's going to teach you also that, hey, you don't think that you're running away from your karma. It's your time to pay your karma now. And it's going to be a big chunk of karma that you're going to pay. And it's going to be, for so many people, it's going to feel very overwhelming, because that's what Saturn is. You are overwhelmed with dealing with all these issues. It's like one issue after the other coming on your shoulder. Like, you know, the Ten of Wands in tarot, that's basically what Saturn is. But also, Ten of Wands represent experience and expertise and life, wisdom. But it also represents responsibilities. But Saturn also teaches you how to persevere, how to be persistent, how to be patient, how to plan and think, and have structure in your life to overcome all these obstacles and difficulties. Now, the downside or the lower vibration of Saturn, obviously domination, control, tyranny, okay? Restlessness, rigidity, cruelty, fighting, manipulation, gaslighting, all these disgusting and difficult words I mentioned. I mean, disgusting, because the feeling or the feeling associated with these terms I used, rigidity, cruelty, ruthlessness, these are all Saturn lower vibration energies. Okay, so for lots of you, especially angular houses, okay, or cardinal signs, you're going to deal with the person in your life like this. But remember, you don't do that to others, because if you do that, you're going to experience 10 folds worse than that. 10 folds worse. 10 times worse. Because remember, Saturn is instant karma, especially in the first 12 or 8 house. I'm going to say it again. First 12 and the 8 houses is instant karma. Right away, hits right away. I'm not going to say it again. You guys do whatever you want. And hopefully when you listen to this, you learn the lesson. Okay? So, as I said, Jupiter in Cancer's house could be a rebirth or a birth of child, a marriage, okay? Commitment. Blessings, all kind of blessings, a miracle. So it's like a miracle born or a birth of a miracle despite the difficulty, despite the hardship, despite the feeling of lack and shortage. There is a miracle that brings hope. Because remember, Jupiter is hope, Jupiter is optimism, Jupiter is bliss and blessings. Okay? And faith, have faith, believe. Now Saturn squaring Jupiter is also testing your belief. It doesn't have to be a belief system in a religion. It could be. It could be another type of belief, meaning you believe that your father will always support you no matter what. And then all of a sudden your father tell you, F off. You are irresponsible. I don't care about you. Get the hell out of my house. I'm just giving you an example. So what are you going to do? Oh, I hate my father. I'm going to kill my father. No. My father is toxic, but maybe you are the toxic person. You're the one who's been irresponsible. And now Saturn is teaching you a lesson to be responsible, to be independent, and not to be relying on your father anymore. So Saturn was going to put you into difficult situation, into hardship, all kind of hardship, to test your ability, to test your perseverance, to test your persistence, to test your patience, to test how you're going to handle responsibility, how you be a responsible person, how you're going to be mature. to say, oh, I hate my father, I hate my mother, I hate this and that. They are toxic. It could be you. You're the one who's toxic. You could be abusive towards your spouse, your partner, your parent, your child, whatever. I'm just giving you a general example. Think about it in a way that you need to grow and you need to learn and you need to be responsible. That's what and you need to progress in your life. This is the positive way of thinking. But if you think, oh, I hate everybody because they left me alone and they're not supporting me and they are this and that, and I start trash talking about these people, well, look at your behavior. What led to all of this? What led to all of this? What you've been doing all your life. Now Saturn is teaching you, hey, it's time now for you to pay your karma. And now we're going to put you into this hardship situation or hard, difficult situation so you can pay off, first of all, pay off your karma so you clear it. Okay? So you can build your wealth. Jupiter. Okay? I hope I'm clear into this. Enough of Jupiter and Saturn square, but that's basically the energy of Jupiter. And I touched base on the cardinal signs. I touched base on the, on Virgo, because once again, excuse me, the most difficult houses is the first 12 and 8 houses. So if Aries falls in one of these houses, then be prepared. Meaning, if you are Aries, if you are Taurus, or if you are Virgo, okay, you're going to experience this the most. Okay? But obviously, cardinal signs going to experience that. As I mentioned, it's going to be squaring you. Okay? Especially if you are early degrees in any of the cardinal signs, because remember, Saturn will be in Aries up till almost 3 degrees in September, reach this degree, and then go back, retrograde, and enter back into Pisces. Next year, early next year, Saturn will move into Aries for the next 2 years and a half until 2028. Okay? Okay, good luck with Saturn. Now, let's move to the full moon in Scorpio.